resellers. This is episode number 178 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is August 14th, 2024, and my guest is Nicolle in California. Announcements. Another gigantic thank you to the eBay community for your kindness and generosity. Inventory boxes are starting to arrive, and I am just overwhelmed with gratitude for y'all helping me get my eBay business rolling again. I'm just so thankful for all of you. My back injury continues to heal, slowly but surely. Good grief, what a process. It's hard to sit for very long and walk and stand, so having inventory come to my door is just such a beautiful gift. I appreciate all of the cards, emails, messages, and financial help. I feel like George Bailey on It's a Wonderful Life. No man is a failure when he has friends. And boy, do I have a lot of friends. I love you all. Big thanks to everyone for your support. Okay, enough about me. Now for the chat with Nicolle.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back. This week I have Nicolle with us. And tell us where you're located.
I am in Oakley, California, which is kind of right on the edge of the San Francisco Bay Area and the Central Valley.
Okay, so probably lots of good sourcing opportunities there.
Yes and no. The
Okay.
thrift stores, all of our local Goodwills, the one in our town even actually closed. We just have one left.
Really?
And it's a ridiculously priced Goodwill. So it's gotten harder. Garage sales are definitely our jam. That's what we like to do.
Good. Yeah, it can be either way when you're in or near an affluent area. Either you're finding great stuff that you can resell for high profit and you're finding it cheap, or it's marked up because they know what they can get in that area.
Yeah, we have the typical, Target will donate their things and it's more expensive at Goodwill than it was at Target full retail.
Yeah. Okay. So do you know why the Goodwill is closed, or did people just refuse to go there anymore?
That I don't know. I really don't. Our local one in town, I think closed. I think it's before COVID, so it's been a while. And then there was
Oh,
one actually right next to my husband's work, which we do eBay together. So that was turned out to be kind of a dangerous thing because he would go on his lunch break and find all kinds of things, and it got a little
oh.
overwhelming for a while. He was not quite as selective as he could have been.
You had to plug up the hole in the boat on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's back up a little bit and talk about what brought you to eBay and when.
I've actually technically had an eBay account since 1998 when I was a teenager. Got involved to, buy some things that I saw, but officially as an eBay seller, I think I looked it up. It was 2017. I was just a mom on YouTube, happened to see other moms, oh, I'm selling toilet paper rolls or, kind of the trash to treasures
Yeah.
ideas. And I thought, well, that's easy. I could do that. Didn't really pan out for me. I didn't sell a whole lot of trash, but I did actually, I think I found you around that time. And so I started
Oh,
listing things from my home and I was hooked. But I found a vase from, I think, my husband's grandmother. It had just been sitting collecting dust. And I looked it up and it was a $300 vase. And I think it sold in a week or two. So we were both hooked after we started doing some of those things and we started going out to garage sales as a family. My kids were 3 and 5 at the time.
hmm.
And they loved it because, they would get to pick up some new little toys. The youngest started getting kind of bored, so we had to bribe her with donuts some weeks. But it just turned into something that we loved doing as a family and ended up being a really good source of extra income for us. So
Hmm.
we've just kept going. It's kind of more my thing now. My husband's a little bit busier and the kids are older, so I'm mostly trying to work on our death pile. We accumulated a lot of stuff.
Yes, that's an occupational hazard.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't help. We're both kind of naturally collectors. He's got a comic book collection. I've got a Briar collection. So, and we love old stuff. And that's kind of one of the things that we'll focus on. We love
Okay.
anything vintage. So,
So you're
um,
talking about the Briar horses?
mhm.
Okay, that's for the listeners, Breyer. And what are they, maybe 8 to 12 inches tall?
Yeah, it depends upon the line. They have a couple different sizes that they make.
Okay, well, maybe we can circle back to that and you can give us some tips on what to look for. Because let's see, I wasn't really into horses and my kids weren't. And so I don't know that product line. I just know that some of them are collectible and some of them are worth more. And
Yeah,
we can
it
talk
can
about
definitely
that.
be a hard niche if you're not a collector. People
Mhm.
think that they think if it's old, it automatically must be worth a lot, which is not always the case. And the newer products that the company is making, if it's one of the really limited ones, then yes, can be very expensive. And the biggest thing, and this is probably true in like the comic book and other collectibles, but condition matters a lot. And until there's actually model horse shows. So until you've shown a model horse and understood how nitpicky some of these
Really?
collectors are,
Model
yes,
horse show. I did not know
yep.
that. Well, you're
Or
into horses. We had a little chat
yes,
before we started recording. So do you have real horses?
yes, yep. I've owned horses since I was 8, so it's been a lifelong passion.
Oh, great. Um, Horse people are unique. And
We are.
yeah, and horses are just, they have such big energy fields. And when I just like to be around them, I've never even ridden a horse. I
Oh, really?
just like to be around them and they're so peaceful and they have that huge energy field that you can feel when you're around them. So, how many do you have now?
Down from I had 6 at one point, down to just technically only 1. I do take care of, my sister's childhood horse. She's older and just kind of needs a retirement place, and my sister's busy working, so I take care of her, and then we have my daughter's pony.
Oh,
Um, so we kind of, I should say, replace the horses a little bit with goats. We're very involved with 4-H with my kids, so we also have
really?
goats, and we
Okay.
have chickens and rabbits and the whole farm. We have a zoo.
And so you kind of became the geriatric retirement home for one horse.
Yes.
I became that for cats and dogs at one point. They just
Yeah.
like, some people can't handle getting old. And I just ended up with like 4 at a time that were old. And I don't
Yes.
know. I just have a,
Well, I realized it was kind of a passion for me because my childhood horse that I had had since I was 12, I think I lost him 4 years ago. So I owned him over 25 years and he was just worth his weight in gold. He made every dream that I had with horses come true. He taught my children how to ride when they were little. He's just an amazing, amazing horse. And in the last probably 6 to 8 years of his life, he started experiencing a lot of health conditions, and it just became my passion to micromanage, I guess, his every little thing, and we probably extended his life easily by another 2 or 3 years just by being very conscientious and just, every little thing. I knew that horse inside and out, so I could tell when something wasn't right, and we would just immediately address it.
so are you knowledgeable? You probably are, about all the like horse items, the tack and the all that kind of stuff. Do you look for that to resell?
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, business enthusiasts, ready to boost your entrepreneurial journey? Tune in to the Growth Gear Podcast with Tim Jordan, presented by Carbon 6. Tim dives into cutting-edge business growth strategies and new brand insights. Whether you're a startup founder or a seasoned exec, gain the tools to elevate your business. Subscribe to the Growth Gear with Tim Jordan on your favorite podcast platform. Shift into high gear. The Growth Gear is your guide to fast-paced business success.
Somewhat. I mean, there's so many different disciplines with horses as well, so I don't know much about like the English riding or dressage disciplines. I just have a basic knowledge there. I always rode Western.
Hmm.
Um, so I know that kind of area. I never did rodeo, so I don't really know the whole rodeo subgenre. There's horses are kind of like a lot of other things in life. There's lots of deep little rabbit holes you can go down. So I know like my specialty and kind of have a
Hmm.
broad general knowledge of other things, but it's I don't know. I think I haven't resold much in that category because if I find it, it's something I usually want for myself.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good one. I'm keeping it. Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
I know in like my eBay experience that horse themed items do well. I've sold, completed cross stitch and framed art and jewelry like little pendants and bracelets. And when I see, a high quality item that is horse themed and pretty easy to ship, not a giant painting that you'd hang on the wall, but
Mhm.
it usually does well. Horse people are like, well, there's other people like certain dog breeds, people are really into that if they have that breed of dog. But um, the horse people, they like stuff. They like all the
Yeah.
horse themed t-shirts and sweatshirts and um, stuff with horses on it. I just
Yeah.
don't pass that up because in my experience, it'll sell pretty well. So I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but we found your knowledge base there. So let's go back to you've got you and your husband and then two
Mhm.
children.
Mhm. Yep.
And how old are they?
My oldest is just about to turn 13 in a couple months, and I have a 10-year-old.
Both girls?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Two girls, which I always kind of said was my worst nightmare because I grew up as one of two girls. So I
Yeah,
know what I'm in for in the teenage years, which I can't believe how quick we've gotten here.
right. In a few years, there's going to be a lot of estrogen in that house.
Yes. Yep. My poor husband.
I have two sisters and one brother, so we kind of had that imbalance of girls to boys in our house, and yeah, it got wild when all of us girls were teenagers. So now, so your kids are they? Do they help you pick out things to sell? Are you watching what they're into and selling those kinds of things?
Yeah, especially my older one. My youngest is still kind of like a little hoarder. She doesn't want to sell anything. She wants to keep everything.
Hmm.
But my oldest is definitely she gets it. She's actually done several of her own flips already. Um, it's actually because it's back to school season. I kind of remembered this from a few years ago. I had the little sign that the moms fill out for first day of school, and when it said occupation, she wrote eBayer.
Oh wow.
So she gets it. Um,
Okay.
she's she's definitely minded that way. Like she sees the value and is totally willing to jump in and sell things. So I wouldn't be surprised if she has her own eBay store someday.
Mhm. I love that generation of kids that are just becoming teenagers now that have seen the reselling their whole life pretty much and
Hmm.
they don't think anything of it. Um, when I started back in 2003, you were kind of a weirdo if you went around to these yucky thrift stores and bought used stuff and people didn't
Yeah.
understand it. Why would you do that when you have a college degree and you can get a regular job? And I was like,
Yep.
because I can.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I had to get a little bit over that myself. I mean, I don't think I ever went into a thrift store as a kid. We did antique stores when I was a kid, but never a thrift store. I don't think other than like hand-me-downs from my cousins. I don't think we ever did anything used. Um, so I actually had to get a little bit over that mindset. And I remember the first time I went to an estate sale, it was almost emotional because I felt so I mean, maybe it was just the person that was there, but there was this guy in the kitchen and it was like he was ransacking the silverware drawer. I mean, I could hear him in there throwing things around and making this giant mess digging for, treasure. And I just thought this poor person that passed away, if they could see what's happening in their house right now, I don't know that they'd be very happy. So I don't know if that was just maybe a really rude person, but the first time I went into an estate sale, I just had this heavy feeling, and it was so hard to kind of get my brain into, profit mode.
Well, and there is, I think, when you go to an estate sale, you have to have some respect for the people,
Mhm.
the family, the person who passed away. Um, be respectful and polite because it is hard for them to see all their loved ones or family possessions being sold, on the chopping block. And
Mhm.
that's got to be hard for the family, letting those things go, making the decisions what to keep, what to sell. And you can't keep everything because a
Mhm.
lot of family members are like, I don't want that. I don't have room for that. I'm not going to open a storage unit to put that in there and then have it for 10 years and never do anything with it. So
Yeah.
I feel you on that. I've been to some estate sales where the resellers are just pushy and rude and they're just like greedy. They just,
Yeah.
there's always going to be more coming. If you don't get
Yeah.
that thing you went there to get, okay, next week might be something else, might be something better. But yeah, that does kind of chat my hide, haha, to use a horse term. Like, come on, people, be nice. This is really hard for the family. And the family might not even be there, but it's just the vibe, karma.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. So
And it's like you've said in a lot of your videos, people can't know everything. In fact, we've gotten to the point where we don't usually like to go to the estate sales first thing because I don't want to be in there elbow to elbow pushing people out of the way. It's not my thing. I prefer a more respectful scene. So we usually go later, because they're more willing to make deals. And as long as you're looking and looking things up on your phone, there's still so many things that you can find that are of value. I remember one particular estate sale we went to. I think it was 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were in the garage, and my husband found this teeny tiny, like 3-inch by 1-inch camera that ended up being a World War II era spy camera that I think we paid $1 for. He sold it for $50 to, I think, somebody in Sweden, actually.
Mhm.
Um, and then I actually found this huge box of it's I don't know how to pronounce it because it's French, but it was this turquoise pressed glass. And I started looking it up and I'm thinking, this can't be right. How is this still here? Because it was literally the goblets were selling for $90 a pair. And it was a whole box of this stuff that I think she let me have for maybe $40. So, there's always still treasures to be found. Even people can't know everything.
And that's what I love is going in with that attitude of like, what's going to be left just for me? Because
Hmm.
you don't know who's been there ahead of you and what they're looking for. Something might
Yeah.
be perfect. I don't know if you saw my story about the dice I found, the
No.
Bakelite dice. I found them on an online auction box lot, and they were just kind of over in the corner. And I'm like, oh, I remember Dina Napoli sold some just like this for over $100. So I got that box of random stuff for $6 with those dice, and nobody else bid on it. And I'm like,
Wow.
I like to zoom in and look at everything and be like a detective. And they sold for $160. I put them on auction, and they went to
Wow.
France. And the person left feedback the other day. They were totally happy. And it's like, whether it's online or in person, you don't know who's been ahead of you and what they know. How many
Yeah.
people looked at that and thought, oh, that's just some dumb dice from a board game? But no, they were vintage, and they look black in regular light, but if you hold them up to a light or a flashlight, they're cherry red. So it was some
Oh,
special feature of that particular bakelite. And I was like, I cannot believe I found these because you just don't know what you're going to find. So
yeah.
yeah. What other sales have you had that you want to talk about?
Oh gosh. Whenever I talk to people in real life, they'll always say, "Oh, well, what kind of things do you sell?" And I always say, pretty much anything I can make money on.
Hmm.
We're not specialists in any way. We just kind of look for things that catch our attention and we'll look them up. And I probably spend too long sometimes in stores because I literally look up anything that catches my attention, which is probably why my youngest doesn't want to go shopping with me anymore because it's really boring for her.
Well, you're not alone
But
in that because people don't want to go shopping with me either because I take too long. Are you
I
done
hear you.
yet? Oh.
Um, I have realized over the years, though, I definitely don't like selling clothing. Tried doing that in the beginning because a lot of people do it, and you can easily find or learn things from other people. But for our life, with all the animals we have, it was way too much anxiety trying to keep animal hair off of things, and just the OCD required to get good pictures on clothing was not my thing.
Right.
So um, we've let's see what was actually recently we've had some really good ones. My father-in-law is a photographer, amateur photographer, and decided to get rid of a bunch of his equipment. And we sold I think it's called a fisheye, but it's a lens for like almost panoramic pictures. Sold that for $3.99 recently. I think that sold in about a week.
Yeah,
Really
I've
good.
heard of those fish eye lenses. I don't know anything about cameras. And I kind of envy people that do because there's just so much in that category. I sold a couple of camera bags. That's not too high tech for me, but the lenses and stuff. And one thing that happened in the past was I sold a camera on consignment for a friend back in the early
Hmm.
days of my eBay. And it was like a Nikon or something like that. And she assured me it worked just fine. And I wouldn't have known if it worked or not. So sold it. The buyer got it, said the flibbity gibbet thing, whatever, wasn't working. I didn't know if they were telling the truth or not. And
Yeah,
so had to give them their money back. It was $100 or so. I didn't want the camera back because I didn't know if it worked. And so that kind of um, put a fly in the ointment of our friendship because my friend is assuring me that it worked. The customer is
yeah,
assuring me it didn't.
yeah,
And I was just out the money. So
yeah,
that's the joy of consignment is when you sell something for somebody else, you better darn sure know the pieces and parts are there and that it works right and all that kind of, or I guess you could sell it untested and then that's kind of the thing now. But ever since that is kind of like a little haha camera shy. Like I don't want to do any camera stuff because of that one bad experience. And there's enough
yeah,
other items that aren't complicated that
yeah.
I just kind of was like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore.
Thankfully for me, because I'm the same way. I'm not at all mechanically inclined, but my husband is. In fact, he's actually a mechanic, and he's
Oh,
very good with electronics and things. So that is fully his department. And he's actually had to learn, a little electronics repair because when we do find something damaged, literally in the 18 years that we have been married, I think there's 3 times that I can remember the man has told me he can't fix something, and it literally just stops me in my tracks because I'm like, wait a minute, fix everything. I'm sure if you go think about it longer, you'll fix it. And I think he usually does.
yeah, just put that
Um,
aside and wait for the information to drop in your head. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
It's
good.
so thankfully I have a really strong partner there because otherwise I would be the same boat. I wouldn't want to deal with it. Um, but we have done fairly well with cameras. We've sold quite a few over the years. Again, we just look things up though, because I know nothing about cameras. And so sometimes I'll pick something up. Like I found a Polaroid once. I thought, oh, this is going to be great. I know Polaroids are worth a lot of money. Well, for some reason, that one particular camera wasn't. It was only selling for, I think, $30. And the guy selling it at the garage sale wanted 20. So I walked away.
Is there something you can think of that he found that sold that you were surprised? Like, I had no idea that would be worth so much.
There was one actually, it was his thrift store days on his lunch break. He brought home, I think it was 4 or 5 packages of Coors Light koozies. And there were like, I think 10 or 12 koozies in each package. And I thought, what on earth are we going to do with these things? And he says, we'll just list them as is. I don't want to sell them individually, just list them in packs. And I think it was about $30. And he paid maybe a dollar or two for each package. those suckers sold so fast, and I loved it because I literally just popped them in a mailer and mailed them. And I had to completely eat my words because I thought we were gonna be sitting on those for years, and I think they were all gone within 6 weeks.
And so
And I
were they
actually told him, I
special?
said, "Can
Like,
you go get more?"
were they for an event or just limited edition?
I don't know, we couldn't find anything about them. There actually weren't any comps listed, so we were just kinda throwing a number out there, but it was just generic Coors merch. There wasn't anything special that we could find on them,
Mhm.
um, but apparently there was a need for large quantities of koozies.
Well, that's a new one for me. I mean, I know the Monster Energy stuff, you can only get it at events. So,
Mhm.
as far as I know, they still don't have merchandise in stores. Um, and that's why some of that stuff can go for a lot of money is you have to go to the event to get the sweatshirt or the hat or the backpack or whatever it is. So,
Got it. See, I didn't know that. I just learned something.
there you go. Yeah, I always look for that. It's like a green wiggly M. You know what I'm talking about. Um,
Mhm.
that drink that is giving people heart attacks now. No, seriously, those energy drinks, it's affecting people. It's making their heart beat too fast and they're having heart attacks. And I could
Yeah.
have told you that. I tried one back in the day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to jump out of my skin. I was a nervous wreck the entire day. I'm like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, I've been too scared. I've never tried one.
I'll go back to iced coffee in the afternoon. so,
Yep, I agree.
how many items do you have in your store?
Currently, we're down to actually only about 100 items. We used to keep it up higher or probably around the 200 to 250 range. We had a starter store in the beginning. We
Hmm.
actually bumped it down, or no, it was the basic store. And then I think we bumped it down when they added the starter store. It's just been harder to keep up as the kids have gotten older. You know, we have 4-H, we have sports, now a homeschooling mom. So I've really, in the last couple of years, wanted to focus on quality, not quantity,
Hmm.
because it's just hard. I've gotten to the point pretty much where if something's not easily a 25 to $30 profit, I'm not going to fool with it because there's just
Hmm.
not enough hours in the day to deal with listing tons and tons of stuff.
Yes. And that's hard to do though, because um, especially if you've sold the item before, you're like, oh, I know this will sell for $20, or I know this sells fast. So it's really hard to have that higher profit filter on when you're
Mhm.
out there. And that's something I constantly work on. It's just I hate to miss a sale. I guess it's the what is it, the dopamine rush you get like when you're
Mhm.
gambling and you win, you're like, yeah, even though you spent $5,000 to make 500, it's
Yeah,
still a dopamine rush when you win. And so
yeah.
when we see that or hear the ka-ching and see that you made a sale, sometimes it doesn't even matter how much it's for. You're just like, yes.
Yeah. No, and I don't think I've had a sale in 2 or 3 days too, so I'm starting to kinda get a little antsy, but and I just have to accept that this is gonna be part of having less items. There's gonna
Mhm,
be less cha-chings, and the only downside so far that I have figured out with this strategy is we were a top-rated seller for years, and
mhm,
then all of a sudden it disappeared, and I thought, "Well, that's weird," and I went and looked at, the metrics. We're well within the or over the dollar amount, but we were at, like, 95, 97 transactions, and 100 is the threshold. So
oh,
it's so frustrating because we've been floating right at that 95 to 97 threshold for probably 6 months. And then I think the next evaluation will be back up to top rated,
mhm.
which it probably doesn't matter all that much, but we had just been a top rated seller for so many years. And then to lose it just for 3 transactions was so frustrating.
Yes, that hurts, especially if you're working on it, regularly throughout the week. You're very busy with your family and your kids and your homeschooling. And um, I don't know how moms today fit it all in. I didn't start till my kids were um, 6 and 8. So they were in school most of the day. And
Mhm.
like these moms with infants and toddlers that are so demanding of time. It's just, how do you get anything done?
Yeah. Yeah. It is a constant go and sometimes very overwhelming.
Okay. Do you have any other sales that have come to mind?
Let's see. I do remember a garage sale once. I found this nice leather wallet. It was kind of this basket weave design, and it just caught my eye. I looked at it and realized it was Cole Haan, which I
Mm.
knew that brand from, I think it was your videos for shoes, or
Hmm.
maybe it was in a Money Making Monday post. Um, and turns out when I looked in it, it was brand new with tags. So asked the lady, she only wanted $1.50 for it. I sold it for $99, I think, in about 3 months.
Wow.
So that was one of my early sales when people would ask me, what do you sell? And I'd whip out my phone and go, see, this is what I
There
sold.
you go.
Um, it just, I love those kind of flips. I mean, selling something is always fun, but for me, I really like selling the higher dollar. I know there's more risk, and it's bit us in the butt a couple times. Um, Another one actually, we've kind of gone more towards electronics after doing some of the or watching some of the Money Making Monday posts. I actually found a Bayo sound system, and I'm not into sound equipment at all. I know nothing about it, but it just looked different when I noticed it on the shelf at Goodwill. It had this glass front and just kind of space age almost. I don't know
Hmm.
how to describe it, but we looked it up and it was like a $300 sound system that Goodwill only wanted 15 bucks for. Um, so that was a really fun flip. Another memorable electronics sale was a 1980s boombox, the big, huge, like 4 foot long ones.
Hmm.
In fact, I think the keyword we used to sell it was ghetto blaster, if I remember right. Um, we had it listed for $100. I think we paid $10 at a garage sale. And we actually had a guy from India message us about it. And he was kind of irritated that the shipping was going to be as much as the sale price. And
Hmm.
I just sent back a polite response saying, I'm sorry, unfortunately, it is what it is. You're literally going to be receiving this item from halfway around the world, and it's huge and it weighs a lot. So unfortunately, it is what it is. There's just nothing I can do about it. And he decided to buy it. So we shipped a 1980s boombox to India. Um, that's another thing that we have done. We're not afraid to ship big stuff. I mean, maybe it's because the two of us together.
Hmm.
Um, we package it up together and use a ton of bubble wrap, but we've had a pretty good record of not really having a whole lot of damage.
Hmm.
So we're not afraid. It might take a little longer sometimes because you got to find that right person that's willing to pay the shipping, but they do come along.
Hmm.
I think another big one actually was a what was the brand name? Shoot, I forgot. I think it was, oh, I don't remember the brand name, but it was a margarita machine. Margaritaville. That's what it was. It was
Okay. Of
Margaritaville.
course. Yeah.
Yes. Huge, like almost professional quality machine. I think we paid 30 to $40 at the thrift store when it was still open. And sold that, I think, for $250. And that one gave us a little bit of a heart failure because it was just so heavy and so huge. But we found a big box. That's another benefit to my husband being a mechanic. He has access to lots and lots of boxes at work. So he brings home all kinds of boxes and we shipped it off and it was fine. Seller left feedback, great feedback. It was good. But that one was a little nerve-wracking.
Well, and back to your husband in the boxes, they're probably very sturdy because, oh, an engine came in this one and it's double walled and
Yes.
very sturdy. And that's a
Yes,
good,
exactly.
that's a plus as an eBay seller. Like, everybody's looking for free boxes. I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever paid for a box. Just,
I don't think
just
we have
keep them.
either.
I just keep them. I usually have too many and have to pare down the collection of every few months.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, and back to shipping heavy things. Yeah, anything can be shipped. It's not that it's hard, it's just, do you want to do it?
Hmm.
And with YouTube, you can figure out how to ship anything. And
Yeah.
um if you're like me, just, pool noodles when they go on sale at the end of the summer, get a whole bunch and save any packing
Yep.
material that anything you order comes in, like the air pillows and the styrofoam and
Mm-hmm.
any of that. And after a while you get a knack for it, oh, I can use this, cut this down and use this to put in here. And so for the listeners,
Yeah.
that is the number one most intimidating thing about eBay or reselling when you have to ship is that you're not going to be able to figure it out. But
Yeah.
people try to figure it out when they're listing the item. You kind of get an idea of what you're going to do, but
Mm-hmm.
when it sells and it comes time to do it, you can figure it out. Really,
Yeah.
people can. It's and you can ask on the Facebook groups and what do you suggestions, and people are so creative with what
Yep.
they use, like the packing material. And I was like, what was it? Like the drink holders at McDonald's or any fast food where you can fit 4
Mm-hmm.
drinks. Those things are great for cushioning and creating a space in the middle and all that stuff. And people just come up with great ideas and
Yeah.
ask
Yeah.
these shipping questions, because the people reading it, the lurkers that don't really comment, which nothing wrong with being a lurker, just saying there's a lot more that don't comment that do. Everybody's learning from that, from your question.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway,
We learned the pool noodle trick from your group, and we actually just shipped a bar mirror the other day. Just used the pool noodles on the frame, and then we're actually running a little low on bubble wrap. So we used a bunch of air packs in strips over the front of the mirror, and then wrapped it in several layers of bubble wrap. And we had a nice sturdy box. I probably think it was maybe a radiator box in its first life, and shipped it just fine.
yeah. And the Amazon bubble mailers, those are
Mhm.
great. I do coffee mugs in those and, wrap it up real good in 1 or 2 of those and then put some air pillows around it. And I don't really ever buy bubble wrap either. Just,
Huh. I
and,
would be
ask your
I've never
friends.
actually tried
Yeah, ask your
doing a
friends and
mug and a
neighbors and people to save it for you. And they're happy to help. Most people are on board with recycling, so they'll help.
yeah.
Yeah.
Our neighbor actually works for Best Buy, and he'll bring us home TV boxes, which we've used
Oh,
as well.
excellent. Yeah. And I bet he has access to like the packing material, the styrofoam stuff in there. And
Not so much of that. He did actually bring us this really unique air pack the other day. I've never seen it. It was like these long columns of air packs almost, and it was kind of sealed together. And I looked at my husband and I said, "Why are we going to store that? We are never going to use that. It's so big." He said, "No, I'll find a use for it." And sure enough, like a week later, he had listed not sure what the exact term is, but it's like the cargo area cover in the back of a car.
mm-hmm.
He found it on Marketplace. Somebody was selling it for $20, and he listed it for I think 350 free shipping, and
Really?
it sold in a week. And those air packs the neighbor brought home were literally perfect to just slide this, because it was kind of like a cardboard covered in carpet type thing, and slid it right in, fit perfectly right into a big TV box, and sent it on its way. I was absolutely floored that it worked out so perfectly.
Well, good for him. Yeah. Don't throw that away. We might be able to use it.
Yeah, it's not good for our home because we live in a tiny little 1,100 square foot home, so we have a lot of things, but we make it work.
Yeah. Well, and that's smart. And these days there's so many hacks, I guess, for storing things, containers or things you can make yourself that like in my kitchen, the top cabinets are too high. I never use them. I can't reach them. It's not practical for me to put anything up there, but I got eBay stuff up there because I'll just get the step stool and get it out when it sells. And
That's a good idea.
yeah, I'm one of those people, like, I don't want to see anything. I want it all put away. It just, I guess it's my OCD showing. Just, I don't want to feel like I'm living in a thrift store. So do the underbed storage and any cabinet that's not practical to use every day. I put some eBay stuff in there. So
Yeah. I
anyway.
struggle with that so much. I've recently learned that I'm a visual organizer. I didn't realize there were different types of organizers. And
Hmm.
so for me, very much out of sight, out of mind. So I struggle with, uh, I've learned that clear containers are my friend. So if I can
Hmm.
see what's in there, it helps a lot.
Yeah, that's me too. I want to see it when I need to, but not all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Working on that. That's hard with children.
Yeah. So when you go to your garage sales and estate sales, do you have certain go-to items you're looking for, or you just take your time and mosey on through everything?
Probably a little bit of both. I would say I'm definitely the mosey through and look at everything. And my husband's much more the look real quick. And if it doesn't look like his thing, he's ready to go.
Hmm. Okay. Well, it's good that there's two of you and you both have a different knowledge base. So,
Ex- Exactly. And it's so funny how different our eye is. We both are drawn to different things. It's very rare that we will notice the same thing. And usually, if it's something that we both notice, it's probably something we've sold before.
mhm.
So there's that recognition. But we've both just seen so many things that, I think one of our early flips was a fence charger for like an electric fence system,
Uh-huh.
which you would think with my animal background, I would have immediately known that's money. But for whatever reason, I guess my brain just went tool, not my thing. And he grabbed it for $7 and I think we sold it for $80.
Nice.
So we both just see different things and it works well. And we both kind of have our own roles too. I usually am the one that lists things and ships, but he's definitely like I said, the repair department. And sometimes he's the photo taker. He gets on a kick and he'll take a bunch of pictures, which that's definitely what I struggle with the most. I hate dragging out the stuff to take the pictures and then having to put it all away because I don't have big chunks of time to work on that kind of stuff. So I would love to have an eBay room someday. That would probably make life a lot easier.
The things us eBayers covet. I'm
Just gotta
jealous of
wait till
these
my kids move
people.
out.
I'm jealous of these people that have like a she shed or a separate little building where they can just do it all out there. And
Yes, that would be
if,
amazing.
if that was me, I probably would never come back in. I'd have my coffee maker and my mini fridge and I'd probably just live out there. Yeah. Somebody was talking about, I think it was Julie Gambino, was talking about she works full time and does eBay. And like she'll do all her pictures for the week on the weekend.
Mhm.
And I strive for that, but I'm like you. That is my least favorite part. And I don't know why. It I guess it's just it's sort of tedious and you
Mhm.
don't really see any result from your effort. Like when you list the item, okay, it's out there, people can buy it. When you're
Yeah,
out sourcing the items, okay, I got this thing in my car. I can't wait to list it. But it's like
yeah,
the taking pictures part is like, I'm not making any money doing this.
yeah. Well, I struggle with lighting for whatever reason. Some days it'll work and other days it doesn't. And it just, I don't know. I'm not, we've sold cameras, but I'm not a natural photographer, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it depends on the color of the item. Sometimes it's tricky, or if you've got natural light mixed in with your light ring too. Um, Sometimes the natural light or light bulbs in the room make whites look more yellow, and you've got to
Mhm.
fiddle with the color and the saturation and all that stuff. Or um, purples look red. Um, it does have to do with the natural light and if the light bulbs are like white or off white, like in the room. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think we have a lot of good photo tools now. Do you use an iPhone to take your pictures?
Yes.
So um, do you fool with the color balance and all those settings when you're taking the pictures, or you just get them on the computer and go?
I actually do everything from my phone.
Oh, right,
So
right.
I take
Okay.
my pictures and I list from my phone.
Yes. Okay. You're that generation. I
I
forgot.
am.
I'm like, when I'm working on eBay or podcast or anything, I want to feel like I'm flying a plane. I got this giant monitor, I got everything here. And I think it's my generation is, I just don't like doing everything on the phone. I can't, it's small. I got fat fingers and, you know, 57-year-old vision and whatever. So, it's whatever works for you. But, so you don't mess with any of that to edit the photos.
No, I mean, now that you mention it, I should, because we actually got new phones over the summer. We
Oh, good.
finally let our kids, we gave them our old phones and let them have a little bit of, I don't know if you say freedom, but gave them the old phones and we got new ones. So in a way, I'm actually still learning how to use it.
Yeah.
I'm so not a technology person. I hate getting new phones because I don't know how to use it. I don't want to sit down and figure it out either. I just want to be able to use it.
I am on board with that. And I wait. I think my current phone I got in like 2021. And my kids are like, Mom, you need to upgrade. They can do this and this. And I'm like, I I don't want change. I just want to know how to pick up my phone and do what I'm doing. And guess what? I use it as a phone. I talk on it. I check email when I'm out. I send offers when I'm not near my computer. Um, I don't like all these apps. They're all like, oh, get the Chick-fil-A app and then you can get a free sandwich and do this. And I'm like, I just want to drive up and get my food
Yeah.
and leave.
Yep.
I want to do
Yeah, I
everything.
was completely unaware of fast food apps actually until recently. I was complaining to someone about how expensive fast food is, and not that we don't eat out very often
But
at all.
sometimes you
But
have
when
to.
we're
Yeah.
yeah, if you're on the road with a road trip or something, you really unless you pack sandwiches, which I was about to do after spending $50 at Wendy's. My friend said, "Oh,
Ridiculous now.
should download the app." And I'm like, "What app?" So I guess I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to figure that out because I'm just blown away by how expensive it is.
I know. But yeah, everybody's got an app and they want you to have the app. And, I'm that old person that says, well, I don't want to. How can I
Yeah,
do it without the app? And to
yeah.
go back to George Kelly saying, if he doesn't want to do something like when he says, when people ask him to sell on consignment, he says, no, I don't want to, and I don't have to.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that. I use that all the time. And anyway, so where was I the other day? And they're like, oh, you have to go on the app and I'm like, nope, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to shop here. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're getting to the end here. Did you want to answer the question about one tip for people getting started or seeing slow sales or anything?
I think for me, I realized I think the biggest tip is to just sell things that you're excited about. And this is something that I struggle with because, like I said, we brought home a lot of inventory over a period, and now I'm not excited about it and I'm struggling to deal with it. So, if it's things that you're excited about, you will be excited to get it listed quickly and it's not going to sit around. And it's just, especially if it's something that you're going to have to fix or you're not sure if it's going to work. That immediately kills that enthusiasm. And if you're somebody like me that procrastinates, it's going to get buried and then you're going to find it and go, oh, I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, like the novelty is worn off. I always think about that when I'm out buying. I'm like, okay, if this was in my pile of things to list, would I jump on it and get it listed ahead of other things? And then I'm like, no, this is going to sit until the end. So I should not buy
Yes.
it.
Yes, exactly.
It's like
Exactly.
lose your enthusiasm over time. Like, yeah, why did I buy that? I don't want to take pictures of that. I don't even want to ship it. Why did I do that? And
Yep.
that's every
I,
eBay seller says that. They're like, yeah, I was excited about that when I saw it. And now not so much.
yep. I have an item sitting out in my garage that I've been thinking about for probably quite a while. It's some kind of recording equipment, I think. I don't remember what the brand is. At least 2 years ago. No, it's longer ago than that. Um, and I paid $5 for it. I remember, paying the guy $5, but that's one thing my husband doesn't have the equipment to test. So I have no idea if it actually works or not. I know it was a $100 item, but because I can't test it, it sat in my garage for 3 years,
But and
which I
really,
should not admit that, but
it's like a time management thing because um, if you buy something you're really not that excited about, um, it's going to be on your mind. It's going to be taking up, mental real estate, so to speak,
yes.
and you're going to keep pushing it aside. And then you're going to list it and you're not going to love it when you're listing it. And we all know if you're involved in doing something you love, the time just passes and you're not even aware of it. When you're doing something you
Mhm.
don't like, such as bookkeeping, that's my thing I don't like. It's like, oh, I have to
Agree.
do this. It's like taking medicine that tastes bad. It's like, just get it over with and let's move on to the stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you so much for making time to come on the podcast and share your wisdom. You have lots of
Thanks for
nuggets of
having me.
wisdom. So I appreciate that. And best of luck with everything. And we will look for your sales on the Facebook group.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, and just a side note regarding my explanation of how I ship coffee mugs, I neglected to say that after I wrap them in an Amazon mailer and put air pillows around them, I do put them in a box, like the 7x7 cube size. I get them from Uline. They're about 80 cents a piece. That is the one item that I do buy as far as shipping supplies. Um, because now that we have Ground Advantage, you can't use the priority boxes. There is a perfect priority cube box size, but it actually comes out a little cheaper to go ahead and buy those boxes from Uline and ship breakables in them because you can then send them Ground Advantage. Okay, now for today's trivia question. Since Nicolle is a horse lover, what are the health benefits of being around horses? Here are a few seconds to think it over. Okay, while the scientific evidence supporting the health benefits of being around horses is still limited, many people who have experienced the calming and relaxing effects of being around these animals believe that the magnetic energy field produced by their hearts is an important factor. Whether you are seeking relief from stress and anxiety, or simply want to experience the joy and connection that comes from being around these beautiful creatures, exploring the benefits of a horse's heart magnetic energy field may be a rewarding experience. It has been proven that working in close proximity to a horse can reduce our heart rate, reduce blood pressure. It can reduce the amount of cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and it can also cause the feel-good endorphins to increase in us. So if you like being around horses, whether it's just being around them, riding them, caring for them, grooming them, there are definite benefits to us humans. Okay, next week my guest is Andrew, a 30-year-old seller who reached $100,000 in sales across different platforms in 2023. Yes, a young mover and shaker. He talks about what he sells and how he runs a business of that size. A true success story, and he is just getting started. So make sure you tune in for that episode. Thank you all so much for supporting me and this podcast. It really is my favorite part of being a mentor in the eBay world, meeting and learning from all of you. Make it a prosperous and productive week on eBay. Bye for now.